I'm going to try and stay still here. I usually walk around all over the place, and I've got to get used to just staying in one place. There you go. So, my name is Felice Mazzoni. It's Italian, from a little town on the west coast of Vancouver Island, 1,900 people, and small, right? So you're dealing with a really small town, really small budgets, small staff, and a lot of challenges. And I think that's what we're talking about today in Gaining Ground, is the challenges that face smaller communities and larger communities. So there's a little map to give you some context of where we're located, just down from Tofino, next to the Pacific Rim National Park. It's 1 million people go to that park every year, spin off to Tofino and Ucluelet. So we've had historically a number of challenges in Ucluelet. Our town was once heavily reliant on forestry and fishing. And in the 80s and early 90s, we had to redefine ourselves because those economies were no longer viable economies for our community. The forestry and fishing declined, and we had to redefine ourselves. We had to refine our vision and figure out how we were going to go into the future and how we were going to do that. Some of the barriers that we were looking at, and a lot of municipalities look at, small towns and big cities, rules and regulations, both municipal and provincial. So you're dealing with the Local Government Act and other places and other provinces, and in the United States, different regulations. Regulatory policy, your own regulatory policy in your communities, official community plans, zoning bylaws, development cost charges, the Land Title Act, strata regulations, building code, the list goes on and on. So these are the rules and regs that a lot of communities face. They're called different things, but they exist everywhere. And it's really important to identify these because it's, and I'm going to get to it at the end of my presentation, you need to start thinking about what you want to do in terms of your vision and what you're trying to accomplish. Then modify these regulations to accomplish your goals and your vision. You can no longer rely on the LGA, on your own OCPs, your zoning bylaws, to get what you need to get done. If you're having trouble and you say, well, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't build this, can't have that, can't have affordable housing, then those policies they need to be changed. Your vision doesn't need to change. The policies need to change to reflect the vision of communities. Right? And that's what Chris is talking about, partnership with the province. The players, also good to understand players in terms of obstacles. Whew, politicians. There are a lot of politicians out there that are not very forthcoming and interested in using green policy. It doesn't matter how good your planner or your staff is for your municipality or your city or your town. If you don't have that political support, you are lost. You will have nothing, because those are the people that pass those rules, those bylaws, those regulations that your staff need to stand on. And so that's one of the biggest barriers, is getting that political support, both federal, provincial, and municipal. Municipal staff. In Chicago, talking about greening staff. You need to have staff that are practicing green policy. And if not, then I think it's time for a change. I mean, talking about alternative development standards, and I'll get into a little bit later on. One of the biggest barriers for me to get into using and implementing alternative development standards, engineers. Engineers will not allow certain design standards. They cannot wrap their head around anything but curb, gutter, sidewalk. And you need to find yourself a green engineer that will start thinking outside the box, and a planner that works with them, because planners and engineers are like all the time. You need to get integration of your staff in order to start thinking about solutions. Approving officers as well, approving officers who approve these subdivisions. You need to get them on board. Provincial regulation, I just touched on that. Developers and a mindset. There's a lot of developers out there. I heard it yesterday in a small town forum that we were talking. There are developers out there that have no interest in building green or doing green at all. And they're hitting the cities, they're hitting rural communities, and we have to try to change that mindset. There's a lot of great developers out there, but I think there's more out there that are just trying to do things same as the past, same as 20 years ago, same kind of development in the same type of way, and we have to change that mindset. I'll touch on that a little bit later. Public education, especially in smaller towns, even in cities, where people are not welcoming of green policy in terms of smart growth, densification. Don't tell me what to do with my property. We've got half-acre, 10-acre lots, and we're continuing to go that way because that's the way we like our property. Don't mess with our backyards, And so there's a mindset back there that we cannot continue to sprawl like that. That development era has come to an end. Sustainable challenges in Ucluelet. What we found, we wanted in 1998, when I started there, actually it's interesting because I was born and raised in Ucluelet, and my parents still live there, and planning in a town where your parents live, I tell you, that's challenging. Some of the discussions over the dinner table, it's like, and it's a whole Italian thing, but